Hey guys, welcome to the Notorious.tv. This is where I cover stories that are scandalous, eccentric, and over the top. Today, I would love to congratulate Senator Angela Paxton for filing for divorce from her asshole husband, Ken Paxton. In this video, we'll discuss what led up to the divorce, and I'm also going to expose some of the scandalous details that have just emerged. So let's talk about it. So Ken Paxton is the Attorney General of Texas, and his wife Angela recently filed for divorce from him, and thank God. I have wanted this for her for so long, and in my documentary from earlier this year called Exposing Plant Politics in Texas, I'll link it above, I had a whole segment in that documentary about Angela Paxton and Ken Paxton, and he is such a scandalous, slimy, doesn't deserve to represent Texans. And I'm going to just play the little snippet for you, and I hope you'll actually go watch the whole thing because it's a really engaging story that's pretty crazy and scandalous, eccentric, and over the top. So here's a little throwback for you. Ken Paxton sued a handful of Texas cities for decriminalizing low-level possession of marijuana. Mind you, this is after Paxton was recently indicted but later acquitted by the Texas Republican-controlled Senate on 16 articles of impeachment alleging corruption and bribery, which the Texas Tribune described as his most artful escape in a career spent courting controversy and skirting consequences of scandal. And during that trial, information came out about an extramarital affair that Paxton was having. But then, of course, this guy wants to be the morality police in Texas and go after adult cannabis consumption. And even messier, Paxton's wife, Angela Paxton, is also a Republican senator in Texas. So she had to sit there and watch him be accused of sleeping with other women. And the Texas Tribune reported that as a senator, she was required to be present to witness her husband's acquittal, but was barred from deliberating and voting because of her relationship with the accused. She listened stone-faced during the trial as multiple witnesses testified about the Attorney General's infidelity, exposing as a lie his 2018 declaration to his wife and senior aides that the affair was permanently over. After the acquittal, she hugged her husband's lead lawyer, Tony Busby, and shook hands with the defense team. So from that clip, you see that this man has shamelessly humiliated his wife in front of not only Texas, but the entire world. And check out his mistress, who was caught on camera doing the walk of shame into her lover's impeachment trial. The comments on this video are really on point, too. This person said, reminds me of Cruella de Vil, the evil woman from 101 Dalmatians. I could see that. Someone said, never heard of this purse. Now I gotta look it up so I can see how much he paid for it. Ha ha ha. Not to mention, this is a Balenciaga purse. She shares it on her Instagram too. And I don't understand why anyone represents that brand anymore after their little advertising blunder where they sexualized children. But I digress. This person said, goodness, Paxton definitely a fared down. Mistress looks frightening. He sure risked everything for something cheap, but he needs to get out of office. So who exactly is this woman? Well, I am so glad you asked because her name is Laura Olson, and let's get to know her a little bit. This Men's Journal article tells us she's a former aide to Texas Senator Donna Campbell, and her name is also associated with Ken Paxton's impeachment trial. She made headlines in 2020 when it was revealed that she had been given a job working for real estate developer Nate Paul's company. Paul was a major contributor to Paxton's campaign. According to Newsweek, it's alleged that Paul bribed Paxton by securing him a job for a woman that he was allegedly having an affair with. During Paxton's impeachment proceedings, Representative Ann Johnson said, Nate Paul giving his mistress a job means that he no longer has to drive back and forth from San Antonio to see her, and it makes her more convenient if she was here in Austin. Okay, so this part really makes me cringe. Apparently, while Laura Olson was working for Paul, she assisted with renovations to the Attorney General's home in 2020. Like, what the heck? This would be one of Angela's homes too, since they were married at the time. But back to the Men's Journal article, Olson ultimately did not have to testify in the impeachment hearing despite showing up in court to do so, and both sides agreed that her testimony was not necessary. But also, can we talk about the fact that she showed up wearing white to this trial like she's some symbol of purity? Okay, and I'm not the only one who thought that. Someone else in the comments mentioned it as well. I'm like, okay, good. I'm not the only one that caught that detail. And this is her Instagram. And her bio reads, "You can't always get what you want, but I can," said every homewrecker ever. Should we even discuss the fact that this woman has public social media accounts? I mean, I'm really trying to put myself in her shoes here, and I just think that if it were me, I'd forgive myself for doing something stupid because, we all make mistakes, and it's not like I expect her to hate herself for it. So I'd acknowledge that it probably wasn't the best idea to have an affair with the married Attorney General of Texas, and then I would promptly make everything private. I probably wouldn't even have my real name or picture on my accounts, to be honest, so people couldn't come on and basically do what we're doing right now, I mean, at least until everything kind of blows over after 10 years or something, I mean, seriously, you guys, people search for this lady. I'll show you in my Ahrefs software. Okay, so if we go to Ahrefs and type in Ken Paxton Mistress, that search term gets 1.5 thousand searches per month. And look, Google knows exactly who Laura Olson is. It lumps the keyword Laura Olson in with the Ken Paxton Mistress category, and her name is searched for 700 times on average every month. And Ahrefs takes the past 12 months and gets an average. So I kind of get the vibe that Laura Olson somewhat enjoys the attention that she gets from this affair. That's just my opinion. Olson also used to be romantically involved with former San Antonio Councilman Clayton Perry, so she seems to kind of just run in these types of political circles. Maybe she's attracted to men who she sees as being high status or with money. And as a side note, Laura was following Monica Lewinsky on Twitter back in 2023, according to Reform Austin, but today she doesn't follow anyone. She's also a 4-time divorcee, she has children, and it looks like her kids are grown. And again, if I were them or her friends, I would not want to be plastered all over her public page after she gained some infamy in the press, And I noticed several people she has tagged now lead to accounts that have been deleted. But anyway, I guess after the Paxton divorce news broke, Laura Olson had some stories up that seemed like she was in kind of a celebratory mood, according to Men's Journal. And I'll link the article in the description so you can read about that if you're interested. But the point is, we don't know if Laura Olson is part of the reason why Angela is divorcing Ken now. During his impeachment trial, it came out that he had lied and said the affair was over, but then kept seeing her. To announce the divorce, Angela Paxton took to Twitter and she said, "Today, after 38 years of marriage, I filed for divorce on biblical grounds. I believe marriage is a sacred covenant and I have earnestly pursued reconciliation, but in light of recent discoveries, I do not believe that it honors God or is loving to myself, my children, or to Ken to remain in the marriage. I move forward with complete confidence that God is always working everything together for the good of those who love Him and who are called according to His purpose." And I don't think there's anything wrong with her extremely factual statement. In fact, it shocked me how many people lashed out at her in the comments, like this guy. He said, "Why would you publicly announce this?" I mean, why wouldn't she announce this, would be my question. This woman said, "Shame on you, vomiting this stuff on social media. Give me a break." And then this person said, "The only reason I can think of to put such personal business on social media is to destroy your husband and his career. Shame on you." And we could only hope that this does ruin his political career, to be honest. Because, like Angela, we need this guy out of our lives for good. Can we divorce him too? But the Bible even says what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. So she's doing God's work, in my opinion. Now, not surprisingly, Ken Paxton released a statement on Twitter blaming everything and everyone besides his own infidelity for the divorce. He said, "After facing the pressures of countless political attacks and public scrutiny, Angela and I have decided to start a new chapter in our lives. I could not be any more proud or grateful for the incredible family that God has blessed us with, and I remain committed to supporting our amazing children and grandchildren. I ask for your prayers and privacy at this time." Wow, look at this moron, Miss K. She said, "Ken Paxton has been a great attorney general, regardless of how his personal life has been run. And for all of you talking and throwing stones over his affair, just remember that there are two sides to every story, and we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. I'm sure his wife isn't perfect either. If she were, he wouldn't seek an affair." Are you kidding me? Miss K, the K must stand for Karen. This chick, she said, "If her husband kept his dick in his pants, this would not be an issue. The women on this thread attacking the wife are top tier crazy." Totally agree. This person said, "Political attacks and public scrutiny didn't end your marriage. Your behavior ended your marriage." Someone even wrote an opinion piece in the Austin American-Statesman talking about how ridiculous it is that Ken Paxton wants to blame basically you and I for his divorce. Then we have this guy, drop out of the race. If you'll cheat on your wife, you'll cheat on Texans. Drop out. Yeah, I mean, he's been cheating on Texans. He had a whole impeachment trial in 2023 where, of course, his friends in the Senate acquitted him, but that doesn't mean that he was innocent. And let's not forget that in 2015, he was indicted for securities fraud and made a $300,000 settlement deal to avoid a criminal trial. Someone else said, "Thou shalt not commit adultery, you devious piece of shit. Weird how you spend so much time trying to legislate other people's morality." He's been getting a lot of backlash for that because he's been so staunchly against abortion. I wouldn't be surprised if Ken Paxton has paid for multiple abortions. Paxton is also against adult cannabis consumption and thinks that everyone who gets caught with the plant should face criminal penalties. And remember what I said earlier about what's done in the dark being brought to the light? So the latest tea to come out is that Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and his estranged wife Angela declared 3 separate homes as their primary residence in mortgage documents, allowing them to lock in improperly low ending rates. They also allegedly double-dipped on a tax break for primary residences and listed 2 other investment properties as vacation homes on the mortgage applications. Interest rates on mortgages for primary homes are much lower than the rates for secondary homes or investment properties, allowing the couple to potentially save hundreds of thousands of dollars with the false statements. It's a federal and state crime to knowingly make false statements on mortgage documents. Besides the Dallas home, the couple, who have 4 children and 5 grandchildren, also own 2 rental properties in Austin, a rental property in College Station, and a 4th rental property in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. On mortgage documents, they listed the Dallas home and 2 Austin properties as their primary residences. They also collected a homestead property tax break on both the Dallas home and one of the Austin properties. A home worth $1.1 million that is only supposed to apply to the primary residence. They rent out the College Station home even though the mortgage says the property is for the Paxtons' exclusive use and cannot be rented out. And the Broken Bow home, a luxury 5-bedroom cabin, is available for rent on Airbnb even though the $1.2 million mortgage, which is in Ken Paxton's name, stipulates that it can't be rented out. So this is really on brand for Ken Paxton, who time and time again has shown that the rules just simply don't apply to him. And conveniently, Ken Paxton's office is the primary agency tasked with investigating allegations of mortgage fraud, making him extremely unlikely to face any legal trouble in Texas. And this issue is not likely to get federally prosecuted either, considering Ken's alliance with Donald Trump. It's crazy how Ken and Angela would just blatantly commit these crimes, right? It's something that you and I would probably go to prison for. In fact, what are the penalties for doing this? Well, according to this blog post from the law offices of Sam H. Locke in San Antonio, it depends on the cost of the mortgage. So in Ken and Angela's case, for mortgages valued at $300,000 or more, penalties include between 5 and 99 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000. This is a first-degree felony. I don't know why these politicians think that they are above the law. I mean, I'm still glad that Angela is divorcing Ken and all, but I think that they should kick off this new chapter in their lives doing a couple years in prison. You know what I'm saying? Tell me in the comments if you agree. The divorce comes on the heels of Ken Paxton's bid to replace U.S. Senator John Cornyn, who also used to serve as Attorney General of Texas. This divorce and the alleged reason behind it really aren't a good look for Ken Paxton as he runs for a high political office in an extremely conservative state like Texas. Somebody really needs to throw Angela Paxton a divorce party. I think it'd be great if someone were to organize Angela Paxton divorce parties like in all the major Texas cities. Just make like a whole event out of it. I'm just glad that she didn't like pull a Hillary Clinton for the rest of her life and just stand by her man. That's all for now, but please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more content that is scandalous, eccentric, and over the top. And thank you so much for watching.